Hey there, we're Talia and Ophira Edut, identical twins and astrologers. Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, where we bring the stars down to earth. Hard to believe, but the year is winding down. We only have a few more zodiac seasons to go before we wrap up 2024, the year of the transcendent leader. That's what we've been calling it. That's what we called it in our 2024 book. And will we have a transcendent leader in the White House? We are entering Scorpio season this week. Dun 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 dun. We've got 2 days of Libra season this week. And then the baton gets passed to the Scorpion. This is Tali from the AstroTwins here with your weekly horoscope forecast. Let's go. So Tuesday really is the big day of transits this week. And not like we won't be feeling things all week long, but Tuesday is when the planets are really talking to each other, making changes, switching around, getting into these scenes together. And it starts early in the day with a Mercury-Saturn trine. So Mercury, now in Scorpio, is making this harmonious 120-degree angle to Saturn. They're getting in this really flowing formation. So they're in water signs, and they're bringing us into this empathic feeling where we need to tune in not just to our thoughts, which is Mercury, not just to the logic, which is Saturn, but also to our guts. Our guts contain information. They're the second brain. So what are you feeling inside when you think about choice A, choice B, choice C? What does that bring up in your body? Tune into those sensations. It's hard to make decisions during Libra season sometimes. And before the sun moves on from Libra to Scorpio, this Mercury-Saturn trine takes place. But you can feel it throughout the day and even for another day or two after that. But the exact trine happens on Tuesday, which may bring this kind of moment of truth, even a sense of needing to go back before you finalize a choice and there's no way to get yourself out of it. You may feel this need to reconsider, review, rehash. So do that. Give yourself the right to change your mind. That's one thing Libra, an air sign, retains as a prerogative, the right to change its mind back and forth as it weighs things. The scale, the sign of the scales, is all about deliberating. And it's interesting that the undecided voter movement has been such a loud voice during Libra season. That's really pretty symbolic there. Now, a little later that day, we have a Sun-Pluto square. So the sun in Libra, for the very last time in our lifetimes, will be squaring Pluto, which is back in Capricorn. Next time around, we'll have the Scorpio sun squaring Pluto in Aquarius, and that's how it's going to be all the way until 2044. So we've talked a lot about this. Pluto is really in the very last gasps of its 16-year cycle through Capricorn. So will this mean the last gasps of the patriarchy? Capricorn is associated with many things, but one of them is the patriarchy, as well as corporations, governments, authority figures in more of the paternal sense. We're going to get into genderized archetypes here. Although interestingly, Capricorn is a yin sign, so in that regard it has a quote-unquote feminine charge, but it's ruled by Saturn, the patriarch, and so the sun squares Pluto, meaning they hit a 90-degree angle twice a year. And so for the last 16 years, this has been going on with Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto darted forward into Aquarius earlier this year on January 20th, but it went back into into Capricorn one more time this September, and on November 19th, it'll move back into Aquarius solidly for another 20 years. But we have this last moment. It's very symbolic. Also, the fact of the matter is that Kamala Harris, who's born on October 20th, has had Pluto forming this square to her sun because she's a late degree Libra, and Pluto's at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So that I've said in some of my analyses, which you can watch on our Instagram, that she has been kind of on mute. She has been pushed down by this Pluto secrecy and invisibility, squaring her sun, which is all about high visibility. So the fact that she kind of came out seemingly of nowhere in this very transformational, potent way is very much the way a Sun-Pluto square can work. So a square, if you think about a 90-degree angle, it's like two forces kind of pushing against each other, battling for dominance. So in all of our lives with the sun in Libra, we are dealing with who we are, how we show up in relationships, how we show up in our relationship to Libra things, like everything from justice to peace to love to harmony. And then we have Pluto in Capricorn pushing against it, where we're like, well, I want to move in this way. I want to do this partnership. I want to speak up on this topic. But all of a sudden, there's these Plutonian ramifications to every move you make. So especially for the last week, every decision may have felt like it had this extra gravitas to it. And that's going to go on for all of this week, too. Because although the square only happens at a specific moment, we will feel it about for, a week on either side. And so there may be the sense that you just can't please everyone, and almost a little bit of a sense of, in some ways, maybe some defeat, maybe some frustration, but also maybe some just acceptance, if not resignation, to the fact that the choices that you make will have consequences no matter what, but which one is going to allow you to feel the most powerful? Because the Sun-Pluto square can also cause a power outage. It can cause a personal power outage or a relationship power outage that forces you to go in and go inside and do some shadow work and say, hey, what do I need? What is going to fuel me? The sun is where we shine, where we get our personal power from. And though it's in Libra, the sign of partnerships, we still have to form the right alliances and ones that will take us to where we need to go, or how we show up in our alliances is also dependent on us feeling empowered. We can't be there for others if we're not strapping on our own oxygen masks, as the cliche goes. So put your oxygen mask on this week, even if that means making other people wait for a minute so that you can assist them better. Like you may have to screen out some demands from people who are, really putting the pressure on you, putting the screws to you, and you have to just screen that and do what inside of yourself is best. And that's where that Mercury-Saturn trine is going to really help out, because while you're facing this kind of consequential decision, you also are going to have to tune in to what's right for you. And I think that may be true for a lot of people who are undecided voters. There's no way to please everyone in this presidential election. There are so many just significant issues, from who gets funded militarily to our international and global alliances to our home-based issues such as reproductive rights, which brings me to Scorpio season, which begins on Tuesday, October 22nd at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So the transition from Libra to Scorpio can be a little bit of an intense one, even though both signs are associated with partnership. Libra is fair and equitable and balanced, whereas Scorpio owns the fact that we don't all bring the same thing to the game. Scorpio is money, power, sex. It is intense. It is death, rebirth, phoenix rising from the ashes after burning things down. So there's a real intensity. But Scorpio, every zodiac sign rules a different body part. Libra actually rules the lower back and the bum. And Scorpio rules the reproductive organs. So this is not headline late-breaking news, but reproductive rights are one of the fundamental issues dividing the candidates in this election. And we're already in a really draconian place right now with states deciding what women can and can't do with their bodies, criminalizing abortions for women or doctors who perform them. And we've heard about women actually dying, having to wait these horrible amounts of time to prove that their lives are in danger before doctors are able to actually perform a reproductive procedure on them. And no matter what your beliefs are about that, we here at AstroStyle strongly believe that women have the right to choose what to do with their bodies and their health and their sovereignty. So here we are in Scorpio season, and this is a huge, huge issue to face. And the whole argument of, oh, the states just get to decide doesn't hold up, because different states are now criminalizing women going out of state to receive an abortion. So it's a mess. It needs to be handled. So it's not just about who you vote in for the president, it's also who you vote down the ballot, because if the House and Senate and the president are all mixed up in different parties and there's no majority, nothing gets done. So think that over as we count down to the election day, which happens always during Scorpio season. Just a couple more weeks to go. It's really hard to not feel stressed about it because it's so significant and it's going to be so impactful. So what can we do during Scorpio season to keep ourselves sane? Scorpio is the sign of transformation. It's a very spiritual water sign. So there's also a need to connect to things beyond just the 3D plane here, because what's going to happen is going to happen. We only have so much control over that. But like we said, this is a year of transcendent leadership. We named it that because it's a dragon year and a wood dragon year, and the placements of all the planets this year in Pisces and Aries and Libra are actually really calling for a new kind of leader. I'm going to read you a little opening passage from our 2024 horoscope book. Later this week, we're going to be announcing the theme of the 2025 horoscope book, the theme of the year ahead, the cosmic theme that we're all going to be living under. It's a good one, guys. One that's pretty juicy. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, make sure you do at AstroTwins or join our mailing list, which you can do right from our website, astrostyle.com. And we are also going to be dropping the info about how to get your 2025 horoscope book too. But I want to read you what we wrote at the beginning of 2024. We actually wrote this in 2023. So every year we tune in and look at where, the stars and the skies and the heavens are assembling and a theme emerges. So the year of transcendent leadership is 2024. So what's in the stars for all of us? Get ready for a power year in every sense. In 2024, the themes of authority and leadership dominate the cosmic forecast. Erase all prior notions of what it means to be in charge. The rising stars of 2024 won't arrive wearing crowns or flexing their generational wealth, but they could emerge from out of nowhere with a simple unifying message that strikes a resonant chord across all divisions. A little bit Ted Lasso, a pinch of Taylor Swift, and an unwavering commitment to living in truth. Enter the year of transcendent leadership. Could you be among 2024's luminaries? Well, why not? Nepo baby privilege is not required to get ahead this year. Taurus jazz queen and civil rights activist Ella Fitzgerald said it best. It isn't where you came from, it's where you're going that counts. And I just thought, wow, as we look back on the year, we've got Tim Walz, who kind of is a Ted Lasso figure, and Chappell Roan, who's been, the Taylor Swift level success story in terms of her breakout performances and popularity this year. Neither one of them coming from any sort of privileged background, but really coming from the Midwest, which is, hey, as a Michigander and Detroit-born native, I applaud them. So this is a call for all of us in the year of transcendent leadership, which we still have a few more months of, 2 months and some change. There's 100% of time left between now and November 5th. Who are you going to be for your community, for the people around you, for the world ahead? We're at a pivotal point, and who winds up running the superpower of the United States will be the one determining in many ways how women are treated, how immigrants are treated, how citizens are treated. We're not the enemy from within, how science is respected, how the climate is treated and dealt with. It's a big deal, and Scorpio season is putting it all on the line. It's huge. Now, for all the people who might be undecided or thinking maybe I won't vote, or I don't know who to vote for in my local government, my state, or even I don't know what kind of transcendent leader I want to be, Thursday is another meaningful day, and the other day that we have a noteworthy transit this week, we have the quarter moon in Leo. So this comes on the heels of the full moon. We just had a full super moon in Aries last week, and by the way, that was really intense, wasn't it? I found that day to be really charged with emotion. This quarter moon in Leo is a chance to celebrate yourself, just as I'm celebrating you right now. What is your creative magic? Where do you want to be fertile in the months ahead? Is there a creative project brewing? Do you want to have a baby? Is it time for IVF? Is it time to get it back on the dating apps? This quarter moon brings some joy and playfulness back in as well, but Leo is that regal sign. So what do you want to be the king or queen or royal of? What is that for you? Let yourself think that through this week. So this isn't the most light and fluffy week, no, but it is one that can be profoundly introspective. I would recommend, if you're feeling stressed out, to maybe go sit in a steam room or get some eucalyptus oil and take a hot bath with it and some Epsom salts. Like, really use water, or do a cold plunge if you can. Somebody was trying to convince me to run into Lake Washington and do a cold plunge, but I still feel like I'm kind of still a little bit of a no to that one, a little bit too scared, but I keep knowing inside that one day I'll try a cold plunge. I'm just not the polar bear kind of gal. Just like the heat too much for that. So you'll find me over there in the steam room, get in a hot tub, whatever it takes. Drink hot teas, hydrate, infuse your water, put some electrolytes into that your body holds on to the water. It can make a difference. We are 80% water here, and Scorpio season might be the time when you really remember it, because your moods can be all over the place during a watery season. I feel like I'm already kind of talking in the mystical Scorpio voice here. So Now it's time for me to head out and go to a Halloween dog parade before I leave New York City. I've been here working away on our 2025 book and so excited. Like I said, stay tuned this week. We're going to be dropping all the big exciting news about what you can expect in the year ahead, what the theme is. We had transcendent leadership in 2024. What will 2025 be? Ooh, I know I'm like building the suspense and being so scorpionic now, but what can I say? I can't help myself. It's kind of fun to dangle that carrot, and that is a little foreshadowing for you. Take it easy, be good to yourselves, and I'll be back next week with more starry news. As always, thanks for listening. You can discover more of your star power at astrocell.com and be sure to follow us on social at AstroTwins. Join us next time for more cosmic fun.